The rain fell in relentless sheets over the city, washing the streets in silver, as Ethan Blackwood, the unyielding billionaire CEO, stopped in front of a small, weathered house he had never noticed before. His life had always been about power, deals, and control until the letter arrived. Cryptic and urgent, carrying a truth he never imagined. Inside, a little girl with her mother's eyes laughed, unaware of the man who had shaped the world but not her life. She was his daughter, hidden away for 5 long years. And the sight of her shattered the steel he had wrapped around his heart. Clara Bennett, the woman he once loved and lost, stood protectively by her side, the years of silence and secrets heavy between them. In that instant, Ethan realized that no amount of wealth or ambition could prepare him for this moment, and that regret had finally found its home. Ethan Blackwood had never knocked on a door like this before. His hands, usually steady when signing multi-million-dollar contracts, trembled slightly as he raised his fist to the worn wooden frame. The house was small, unassuming, and utterly unlike the penthouse he called home. Yet something in the letter, the urgency, the secrecy, the words "you need to see her" drew him here. Rain drenched his designer coat as he stepped back, momentarily hesitant. He had conquered skyscrapers, markets, and empires. But he wasn't prepared for what waited inside. The door opened slowly, and there she was, Clara Bennett. Time had been kind to her, yet there was a steel in her gaze that had never left. She studied him silently, weighing whether to allow him a glimpse into a life she had fiercely protected, and then she stepped aside. Behind her stood a little girl, no older than 5, clutching a stuffed rabbit to her chest. Her hair was wild and curly, her eyes wide and innocent, yet there was an unmistakable resemblance. Ethan froze. This was impossible. "She's mine, Ethan." Clara's voice was soft, yet carried the weight of years of suppressed pain. He swallowed, words failing him. "Lila," he whispered, as if speaking the name aloud, "could make it real." The little girl's gaze shifted from her mother to the stranger standing in the doorway. She blinked, curiosity mixing with caution. "Mommy, who is he?" Clara stepped forward instinctively, her arms still around Lila. "She's asking who you are," Ethan murmured, kneeling slightly to meet her eyes. He wanted to reach out, to touch, to claim what was his, but fear froze him. "I'm Ethan," he said gently. "Ethan Blackwood." Clara cut him off, shaking her head. "You're the man who left Ethan. The man who chose ambition over love, over us." The words hit him like a punch to the chest. He had built an empire, yes, but at what cost? His heart ached, and the past he had buried so deeply surfaced like a storm he could no longer control. Lila clutched her mother's sleeve, peeking from behind her. "Mommy, why does he look like me?" Ethan's breath caught, her voice so innocent, so small, pierced through the armor he had built around his heart. Clara tightened her grip on her daughter. "Ethan, she doesn't know you, and she shouldn't have to. Not yet. I need to know her," he said, voice trembling. "I need a chance to be part of her life." Clara's gaze hardened. "You had your chance, Ethan. You walked away. 5 years ago, you left, and I had to protect her from the world. From you." Ethan swallowed the guilt that rose like a tidal wave. "I know I failed. I know I hurt you. I never wanted to leave her, to leave you, but I can't change the past. All I can do is try now." Lila shifted in Clara's arms, tilting her head, curiosity mixing with hesitation. Ethan extended a hand slowly. "Lila, I'm your father. I don't expect anything now, but I hope, maybe we can start." Clara's eyes filled with tears, the storm of anger, pain, and longing battling within her. She wanted to slam the door, to protect the child from disappointment, from heartbreak, from a man who had once chosen everything but family. But as she looked at Ethan truly, she saw something she hadn't allowed herself to hope for: remorse, sincerity, and an undeniable longing to connect. Lila took a cautious step forward, peeking at him from behind her mother. Ethan's eyes softened as he knelt fully to her level, reaching out gently. "I won't hurt you," he whispered. "I just want to know you." The little girl hesitated, her tiny fingers clutching her stuffed rabbit tighter. Slowly, ever so slowly, she stretched out her hand toward him. Ethan's eyes glistened with unshed tears. The first touch of connection, fragile yet profound, was enough to shatter years of regret. Clara watched, her heart pounding. She had hidden her daughter for 5 years to shield her from pain. Yet now the truth was unavoidable. Ethan was here. He was real. He had come, and maybe, just maybe, he could be trusted again. The rain outside had slowed to a drizzle, as though the storm itself was holding its breath. Inside, the air was thick with tension, hope, and a fragile possibility of forgiveness. Ethan stayed kneeling, speaking softly to Leela, telling her her name, asking about her favorite games, and listening intently as she whispered shyly. Clara's eyes met his, a silent agreement forming. He wouldn't be allowed to leave, not again. But trust, she reminded herself, would take time. Ethan felt it in his bones, the weight of years lost, the cost of ambition, and the sudden clarity that wealth, power, and success meant nothing without family. And here, in this small, humble home, he found a purpose that skyscrapers and boardrooms had never offered. Redemption, love, and the chance to finally be a father as the evening sun peeked through the clouds, painting the room in soft golden light. Ethan made a vow to himself and Delilah: nothing, number deal, no business, no mistake from the past, would ever keep him away again. The journey had begun. The morning after the rainstorm brought a quiet calm to the little house. Sunlight filtered through the thin curtains, casting warm stripes across the wooden floor. Ethan sat on the edge of the sofa, his hands nervously folded, while Lila sat cross-legged in front of him, her stuffed rabbit clutched tightly. Clara stood in the kitchen doorway, watching silently. Her arms were crossed, but her eyes betrayed a mix of curiosity and caution. Ethan cleared his throat. "Leela, can I read you a story?" he asked gently. His voice, deep but soft, seemed foreign in the cozy living room. Lila tilted her head, unsure. She had never known this man her father, but there was something in his gaze, something unthreatening that made her hesitate. Clara stepped closer. "It's okay. Just keep it light," she whispered, giving him a small nod. Ethan smiled, a nervous, unpracticed smile. He picked up a picture book from the shelf. The pages were filled with colorful illustrations, houses, and trees, and he began reading slowly, deliberately, trying to match his tone with warmth he hadn't used in years. Leela's eyes followed him cautiously, then more openly, as the story continued. She giggled at a funny animal, and Ethan's chest tightened. He had never imagined that such a small laugh could hold the power to undo years of regret and pain. After the story, he looked at her. "Would you like me to draw with you?" She hesitated, glancing at her mother. Clara's expression softened, a subtle encouragement. Lila nodded, a small smile breaking across her face. Ethan pulled out a sketch pad and colored pencils, and they began to draw together. The first few minutes were awkward, his strokes stiff, her questions hesitant, but gradually the space between them softened. Clara sat on the edge of the kitchen counter, watching them. Each time Leela laughed, a small spark of something long forgotten flickered in her heart. She remembered why she had loved him once, the man beneath the ambition, beneath the CEO persona. And yet, she couldn't ignore the past, the pain, the abandonment, the years she had spent protecting Leela from a man who had left them behind. Midday brought a quiet moment. Ethan looked at Clara, words unspoken but heavy in the air. "I know I don't deserve it," he began slowly. "I know you've had to be strong all these years, and I failed. I failed you both. But I want to try every single day, if you'll let me." Clara's eyes glistened with tears. "It's not that simple, Ethan," she said softly. "You walked away. You don't get to just show up and pick up where you left off. Leela, she's my world. I won't let anyone hurt her, not again." He nodded, swallowing hard. "I know, and I don't expect forgiveness right away. I just want the chance to be part of her life, to be a father she can trust, to be someone you can rely on, if you ever choose to." For a moment, the room was silent. Leela had gone back to coloring, but she kept glancing up at him. Something inside her innate curiosity, instinctive connection drew her toward him. Slowly, she slid a small drawing across the table to him. A house, a tree, and two stick figures holding hands. "This is us," she whispered. Ethan's chest tightened. He picked up the drawing and studied it, memorizing every detail. "It's perfect," he said softly. "Just like us. If you'll let me try." Over the next few days, Ethan immersed himself in this small, domestic world. He helped with breakfast, guided Lila through her morning routine, and even attempted small chores around the house. Each task, simple as it was, felt monumental. He realized that wealth and power had never taught him patience, humility, or unconditional love lessons that Lila was now quietly demanding he learn. Clara observed cautiously. She allowed him space to interact, but she remained a quiet sentinel. She wanted to believe, but years of self-reliance and heartbreak had built walls she wasn't ready to tear down entirely. One afternoon, they went for a walk in the nearby park. Leela ran ahead, laughing as Ethan followed her, carrying a small kite. He attempted to teach her how to fly it, stumbling and fumbling, but she clapped her hands in delight with every gust of wind. Clara walked beside them, a small, tentative smile playing on her lips. "This feels strange," Clara admitted quietly, "seeing you like this." "I know," Ethan replied, catching his breath after running to keep up with Lila. "I never realized what I was missing. I thought business and success meant everything. Now I see. It's moments like these that matter. I wish I had realized sooner." Clara shook her head, a mix of frustration and longing. "You had your chance, Ethan. You left it behind." "I know," he said softly, "but I won't leave again. I promise." As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the park, Lila tugged at Ethan's hand. "Daddy, do you stay now?" Ethan looked down at her, heart swelling. "Yes, baby, I'm staying. Always." Clara watched them, her arms crossed but her heart unguarded for the first time in years. She knew the journey would be long, that trust would need to be rebuilt brick by brick, but she also knew that this small, fragile moment was the first step toward healing, toward a family that could finally be whole. That night, as Ethan tucked Lila into bed, brushing her hair from her forehead, he felt something he hadn't in years: hope. For the first time, he wasn't a man defined by deals, contracts, or skyscrapers. He was a father, and every decision, every sacrifice, every moment mattered now. Clara lingered in the doorway, watching him, and for the first time, allowed herself a quiet thought. Maybe, just maybe, love could return. Maybe, just maybe, the past didn't have to dictate the future. And in that small, quiet house, amidst laughter, hesitation, and fragile trust, a new chapter began, one that promised healing, connection, and the slow, painstaking work of redemption. The days that followed became a delicate dance of discovery, tentative trust, and silent yearning. Ethan Blackwood, once a man defined by deadlines and boardroom battles, now measured his life in small moments, the sound of Lila's laughter echoing down the hallway, the warmth of her tiny hand in his, and the cautious smiles she offered when she felt safe enough to approach him. Clara observed quietly, her heart a battlefield of hope and fear, each time she watched Ethan patiently braid Lila's unruly curls or help her solve a puzzle. She felt a pang of longing for the man she once loved, but the pain of abandonment still lingered. Years of independence and guarding her daughter had created walls she wasn't sure could be dismantled. One afternoon, Lila tugged at Ethan's sleeve. "Daddy, can we bake cookies?" Ethan smiled, kneeling to her level. "Of course, baby, but you have to promise to follow instructions exactly." "Okay," Lila squealed, rushing ahead. Clara followed silently, arms crossed, hiding the softening of her expression. The kitchen soon became a symphony of laughter, flour-covered hands, and spilled chocolate. Ethan's clumsy attempts to measure ingredients had Lila giggling uncontrollably, and even Clara found herself chuckling quietly from the doorway as they waited for the cookies to bake. Ethan took a deep breath. "Clara, can I ask you something?" Clara leaned against the counter, cautious. "What? Why? Why did you hide her all these years?" His voice wasn't accusatory. It was raw, filled with longing and remorse. Clara's fingers fidgeted with the hem of her shirt. "Because I had to protect her from being hurt, from losing someone she could depend on. And, from you. Maybe. I wasn't sure you'd come back. I didn't trust that you would." Ethan's chest tightened. I can't change the past, but I can promise, from this moment, I'll never leave her. I'll never leave you again." Clara's gaze softened slightly, though doubt lingered. "Promises. They're easy to make, harder to keep. I'll earn it," Ethan said, his eyes unwavering. "Every single day. You'll see." Lila, sensing the tension, tugged at his hand. "Daddy, look, I made a cookie heart." Ethan looked down at the small, imperfect heart-shaped cookie and smiled, lifting her into his arms. "It's perfect," he whispered, planting a soft kiss on her forehead. "Just like you." That evening, as Lila drifted off to sleep, Ethan sat beside Clara, the weight of unspoken words pressing between them. "I never stopped loving you," he admitted quietly. "Even when I left, even when I thought I was doing the right thing for us, I never stopped." Clara looked away, blinking back tears. "You left Ethan, you made your choice." "I know," he said, his voice trembling. "And I've spent every day since regretting it, but I'm here now. I'm not asking for everything back, not yet. I'm asking for a chance, to be part of her life, part of yours, to prove that I've changed." The room fell silent. Outside, the city lights flickered through the window, casting a soft glow. Clara's heart wavered, pulled between caution and the longing she had buried for so long. She wanted to protect Lila, yes, but she also wanted to believe in the possibility of love, of family, of healing. Over the next few weeks, Ethan's persistence became a gentle rhythm. He attended Lila's school activities, listened intently to her stories, and even learned the small quirks that made her laugh. Slowly, Clara began to notice subtle changes, not just in him, but in herself. The walls she had built around her heart were starting to crack, revealing the vulnerability and hope she had tried to bury. One evening, as they sat together watching the sunset from the small backyard, Lila clung to Ethan's side. "Daddy, can we go to the park tomorrow?" Ethan smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Of course, baby. We'll go wherever you want." Clara watched them, her chest tightening with emotion. She realized that Ethan wasn't just trying, he was changing. He wasn't the man who had left, he was someone willing to put love, family, and responsibility above everything else. But life, as it often did, wasn't without its tests. One afternoon, a neighbor mentioned seeing Ethan at the office for late-night meetings. Clara's heart sank. Is he really here to stay? Or is this just another temporary moment before he disappears again? She wondered, anxiety gripping her. Ethan sensed her unease. "I'm not going anywhere," he reassured her quietly, taking her hand. "This isn't temporary. I'm here for you. I'm here for Lila. I've waited too long to make things right, and I won't waste another second." That night, as Lila slept peacefully, Clara finally allowed herself to hope. She placed a hand over her heart, silently acknowledging the slow, tentative beginnings of trust, love, and a family that could finally heal. For Ethan, every day with Lila was a revelation. Every smile, every hug, every whispered "I love you" was a reminder that wealth, power, and ambition were meaningless without love. And with Clara gradually letting him in, the possibility of redemption, forgiveness, and a shared future became real, not just a dream, but a tangible, breathtaking reality. The journey wasn't over. There would be challenges, tests of patience, and moments of doubt. But for the first time in years, Ethan Blackwood felt a sense of purpose far beyond business deals and boardroom victories. He had a daughter to cherish, a woman to win back, and a family to rebuild, and he was ready to fight for all of it. The morning dawned gray and heavy, the sky mirroring the tension that had begun to creep into the small household. Lila was unusually quiet, her playful energy replaced by a subtle lethargy that set Clara on edge. Ethan noticed it immediately during breakfast, the girl pushing her pancakes aside. "Lila, are you feeling okay?" he asked, concern etched across his features. Clara's brows knitted. "She seems a little warm," she murmured, reaching out to touch her daughter's forehead. A wave of panic washed over her. Ethan's heart clenched at the sight of his daughter, vulnerable in ways he had never anticipated. Without hesitation, he called their pediatrician, arranging an immediate checkup. Clara followed silently, the usual defenses softened by the palpable fear for Lila's well-being. In the car, Ethan held her hand briefly, a silent reassurance that he would face this storm with her. Together, at the clinic, the nurse ushered them into a softly lit room. Lila sat between them, her tiny hand clutching Ethan's as if sensing the gravity of the moment. The doctor examined her carefully. "It's a mild infection," she explained, "but she needs rest and proper medication. Nothing serious, but she needs her parents around." Ethan felt a wave of relief, but it was mingled with guilt. "I could have missed this. I could have been away." Clara's eyes softened slightly as she watched him fuss over Lila, carefully applying the cream and arranging her medicine. That night, back home, Ethan sat by Lila's bed, reading her favorite bedtime story. Clara lingered at the doorway, silently witnessing the transformation she had begun to believe in. Ethan's voice, tender and patient, narrated the adventures of imaginary kingdoms and brave little heroes, his hand occasionally brushing Lila's hair away from her face. "You're a good dad," Clara whispered, almost to herself. Ethan glanced at her, surprise flickering across his face. "Trying to be," he replied softly. "I know I have a lot to make up for, but I won't let her or you down." Clara bit her lip, her heart unraveling in ways she hadn't expected. 5 years. I hid her to protect her, and maybe myself too, she confessed, tears brimming. "I didn't know if I could trust you, or if she'd even accept you." Ethan's eyes glistened. "I'll earn that trust," he promised. "Every day, for the rest of my life if I have to." Days passed, and as Lila recovered, their bond deepened. She laughed more freely, leaned into Ethan's hugs, and even called him daddy without hesitation. Clara, witnessing this, began to realize that Ethan's transformation was genuine. The walls she had built to shield her heart were slowly crumbling under the force of his sincerity. One afternoon, as they played in the backyard, a sudden storm erupted. Rain pelted the ground, And Leela's laughter turned to alarm when a sudden gust of wind sent her kite tumbling toward a sharp corner of the fence. She tripped, scraping her knee. Clara gasped, rushing forward, but Ethan was quicker. He scooped Lila into his arms, cradling her against his chest as she whimpered. "I've got you, baby. I won't let anything happen to you," he murmured. Voice steady and resolute, Clara arrived seconds later, her hands trembling as she wiped the rain from Leela's face. Ethan's eyes met hers, filled with determination and protective instinct. In that instant, she realized the truth she had feared to admit. He had changed. He was no longer just the man who had walked away. He was her daughter's guardian, her partner in trust, and the man she could lean on. They rushed inside, cleaned Leela up, and wrapped her in warm towels. Ethan stayed close, soothing her with gentle words and soft kisses on her forehead. Clara finally let herself breathe, allowing a fragile sense of safety to settle over them. That night, as Lila slept peacefully, Ethan and Clara sat together, the weight of years and regrets pressing between them. "I know I can't erase the past," Ethan said, voice low, "but I want to be here. For her. For us. If you'll let me." Clara reached out, her fingers intertwining with his. "I see it, Ethan. I see the man you are now, the man you've become for her. And for me, I was so afraid to hope. But I think I want to try again." He leaned closer, a tear escaping down his cheek. "That's all I've ever wanted. A chance, one chance to make things right." The next weeks were filled with laughter, learning, and tentative moments of joy. Ethan balanced work and home, proving daily that he was committed, not just in words, but in actions. Clara began to trust him fully, and Lila flourished under the love and attention of the father she had longed to know. Finally, one quiet evening, as the three of them sat on the couch watching the sunset, Leela curled up between them. Ethan kissed the top of her head, and Clara rested her hand on his shoulder. "We're a family now," Ethan whispered. Clara smiled, tears of relief and happiness shining in her eyes. "Yes, we are." For Ethan, redemption was no longer a concept, it was tangible. Every laugh, every hug, every whispered "I love you" from Lila was proof that even the coldest hearts could melt, that regrets could be reconciled, and that love, when given a second chance, could heal even the deepest wounds. And in that small, humble home, amidst warmth, laughter, and newfound trust, a billionaire's regret transformed into a father's pride, a lover's hope, and a family finally whole. As Leela drifted off to sleep, her small hand resting in Ethan's, the warmth of a family finally whole filled the room. Ethan looked at Clara, their eyes meeting in a silent promise that words could never capture, of trust rebuilt, love rekindled, and regrets transformed into hope. In that quiet moment, it wasn't wealth, power, or ambition that mattered. It was laughter, hugs, and the fragile, beautiful bond of family. To everyone watching, remember, life can give second chances, even when the past seems unchangeable. Love has the power to heal, redemption is always possible, and family once lost or hidden can always be found again. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who believes in second chances. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more cinematic, heart-touching stories that remind us what truly matters.